editor at IDW, and I write Transformers, Robots in Disguise, one of our Transformers comics. So we go through, wow, okay, good. Phew. I did not know who any of these people were, but now I think we're going to next to me is Rebecca here, who's going to be helping with the slideshow. Next one down, Carlos Guzman is editor at IDW, works on G.I. Joe, works on Transformers, works on Magic the Gathering, Samurai Jack, yeah, whatever. So he's expert in all of those things. If you want to answer some questions, we'll show you some previews coming up. Next down is Mary Scott, writer on the Transformers Prime TV show. I'm sorry, you're more than a writer of the Transformers Prime TV show. More relevantly, writer of the Transformers Windblade series that just debuted. Tony Fleeks, next one down, he's an artist on the My Little Ponies comic, and he's not a but My Little Ponies. And then finally, on the far end, Flynn Dilley, a Transformers legend who's worked on the show since its inception as in the 1980s, worked on the Transformers 1985 movie, and has written with Chris Metzen and the two Transformers series at IDW, Transformers Autocracy and Transformers Monstrosity, and I wonder if he'll write any more. Flynn Dilley. Alright, so I guess we'll get started with the slideshow, and then we'll open this up to questions and answers at the end. I'm going to try to go through the slides kind of as quick as we can, and we'll have more time for you guys at the end, because I think that's probably the more interesting stuff. So, let's go. Our Transformers. We just launched a new, it's not exactly a series, but a new era of Transformers with Dawn of the Autobots. We currently have three series in the sort of the mainline Transformers comics universe. The one I write, Transformers Robots in Disguise, which has been set on Cybertron, but is actually just now telling the story of Optimus Prime taking a group of Autobots to Earth. The first issue of this new sort of season 2 of Robots in Disguise comes out next Wednesday. The art in that is by the phenomenal Andrew Griffith. Transformers, More Than Meets the Eye, you can see right there in the center. If you haven't been following it, you might be a little surprised. That is Megatron with an Autobot symbol. Megatron has joined the Autobots and is aboard a starship called the Lost Light in search of the legendary Knights of Cybertron, courtesy of writer James Roberts and Alex Mill. And Windblade is a brand new series. Number 1 just came out on Wednesday. Mary Scott writes it, and the phenomenal Sarah Stone draws the art. This is actually her first, I think her first professional comic book, and it's extraordinary. This is the story of a sort of a descendant of Cybertronians named Windblade, who has returned to, or has come to Cybertron and is facing the fallout from the war that's gone on for so many millions of years. I'll let Mary talk about it when we get to the actual slide. So yeah, Robots in Disguise, we're going to be centered on Earth. We've been away from Earth in the series for a really long time. And it's kind of exciting to get back to the planet. Optimus Prime is leading a squad of Autobots, including Jazz and Sideswipe there. I'm really proud of the work we're doing in this. I don't know what else to say. The complex political machinations from Robots in Disguise will not be going away, but they'll be shifting to our own world, which has been over the years devastated by the Transformers. Optimus Prime will certainly not be greeted as a returning hero. Here's some interior art there. I think this might be the first time we've seen some of these pages. There's Skylinks, favorite Skylinks. Everybody at every convention asks about Cosmos. When are we going to see more Cosmos? There's some Cosmos. He's the green guy. All right. This is the next cover. They're still on Earth, the next issue. All right, Transformers, More Than Meets the Eye. Any More Than Meets the Eye fans here? Woo! Anybody surprised to see Megatron leading Lost Light? Yeah. I think, to me, this is like, big Star Trek fan. To me, this is like when Worf came into Deep Space Nine. There was already a good ensemble, but what Megatron adds to the group is really crazy and really a lot of fun. I think if you guys have been following the book already, James' writing is just as sharp as ever. Where's the next one? There's some pages from the first issue. The sense of humor and everything's sort of in detail is certainly not going anywhere. Alex Milne is killing it in the art. He's amazing. And then the ever-present threat that sort of hangs over everything that goes on in the last slide is definitely going to be there. So really excited about where this book's going to. But they're not here, so who cares, right? Oh, here's some black and white art from Alex. This actually has been colored. We're actually not even that far behind. But it's kind of cool to see the black and white shot here for the 2-page spread from issue 29. So I'm gonna let Mary Green talk about Windblade. But just the introduction. I love this series.
That's because it's awesome. So this is Transformers Windblade. It's a 4-issue mini-series, a really great starting point for new readers in the Transformers verse. It takes place with our brand new fan-built character, Windblade, who is new to Cybertron and has come into conflict with probably the worst person to come in conflict to, which is Starscream. So we've set up a great relationship between them where Starscream runs the planet of Cybertron, and Windblade is the only person who can speak to Metroplex, which is the only viable city on Cybertron. So it's a very uncomfortable power-sharing relationship. So you can see some of the art by Sarah Stone, which is fantastic. And she does both the inks and the pencils and the coloring. And we try to do just a really fun, expressive, hopeful kind of book.
For anybody that doesn't know, what was the fan-built plot? What was the story behind that? What does that mean?
Oh yeah, so for the 30th anniversary, Hasbro decided to do something really cool, which is they launched a series of polls with the fans to design their own Transformer. And you could choose Autobot, Decepticon, Jet, Tank, that kind of thing. And Windblade ended up being the final result. So we're all super excited. And as soon as I heard about it, I reached out and I was like, dibs on her, she comes into the comics.
Yeah, she made her debut in the Dark Cybertron event. I don't know if anybody was reading Dark Cybertron. That was a big 12-part story. But yeah, no, when you guys took with the sort of bare bones of the character and really ran with it and really created her into something that's really neat and cool in the Transformers universe. That wasn't a question, I guess, was it? It's a yes or no question, I guess. All right, next. Oh, some more art from. Is this still from issue 1?
Yeah.
That's from issue 2. Oh, yeah, it's from issue 2, so even better. There's some sneak peeks. Okay. So we've got something big coming up later this year. August 2014. The end of the beginning is here. And Mr. Chris Metzen, Mr. Flip Dilley, Mr. Livio Ramondelli, Transformers, Primacy, the final stage of the trilogy of Autocracy, Monstrosity, Primacy. This is well, I'll let Clint tell the story. What is the story of Primacy?
We're still trying to figure it out. No, that's not true. Basically, this turned into a trilogy. It's sort of like, Transformers, Lord of the Rings or something. And we started out with Autocracy. We got Orion Pax, who we come to know as. Very good. Orion Pax is a corrupt cop, and Megatron's kind of somewhere between terrorist and freedom fighter, and so is Hot Rod. And we're in this really corrupt world of Zeta Prime. And then Megatron and Optimus Prime kind of eliminate Zeta Prime, and then they both go on their road of trials. And then in Primacy, we decided we want to do a war book. We want do the most epic battle destruction Transformer stuff with all the monsters after each other, and Megatron and Optimus Prime are like actual commanders, or like Hannibal or something. And so that's what you have to look forward to. It's ought to be a big like carnage fest in the history of Transformers.
Is it really? I mean, we've done. I mean, all these have been kind of set back in that era. We've done stories set in the war, the IDW comics. But this is really the first time I think we're really going to dig in really deep in what the early days of the war meant, and just how it affected everybody, how it turned. Like, I think this is really the moment where you see all the characters turn into the characters that you come to know and love over the years, right?
Yeah, you see everything here. You see everything from Dinobots to Stunticons to every giant there is, to our old familiar friends. I mean, Starscream, that's probably my favorite Transformer. It's prominent here. Yeah, but it's a war book. It's Sharkticons show up, and there may be a Quintesson in there somewhere. Lots of stuff.
Really?
But not like, maybe not really. Sort of like a Quintesson.
Okay. Carlos, want to handle this one?
Oh boy. So Transformers versus G.I. Joe. This is going to be our free comic book day release to kick things off, and then we're going to start an ongoing series in July. It is co-written by John Barber over there and Tom Scioli, and art is done by Tom Scioli all by himself. Pencils, inks, and colors. This is probably the craziest book that I've ever worked on. It has everything in it. It has all the sci-fi. Every G.I. Joe character imaginable seems to show up, and things just from the get-go just get really, really nuts. And Tom does not let up from the throttle. I mean, John can kind of talk about like what the writing process is like, but really like we just let Tom go nuts.
Yeah, this is really one of those books that I can't believe they're letting us do this. It's just a ton of fun. I mean, I think it's going to be interesting to see what everybody thinks about it, but I think people really like it. It's coming from a real pure place. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with Tom Scioli's stuff, but he did a series called Godland and Image. He's written a series called American Barbarian, before that one called Myth of Eight Opus. And he's really, the storytelling is crazy innovative. The story we're telling is just sort of just pure sci-fi, army, the cosmic clash between Earth and alien invaders. The free comic book day story, you can pick it up for yourself and find out for no cost on May 2nd or 3rd. Whatever the 3rd, sorry. The comic book stores everywhere, but it's the Joes are engaged in a final showdown with Cobra. They finally got Cobra Commander where they want him, and that's right when Starscream shows up pursuing Bumblebee, and things just get out of hand. It's one of the most out of control comics I've ever worked on. It's so much fun, but Tom and I both have been I've been a fan of Joe's Transformers since I was able to breathe, I guess. I remember when I remember getting my first G.I. Joe figures. I remember exactly where I was when I did that, and I got Flash. My dad said I should get a buddy, so I got Rock and Roll. I've been reading Transformers since issue 1, and just kind of going back to those days, and kind of what made stuff what made stuff powerful when it first came out, and sort of reimagining it, putting it together into a new story. It's pure comics. This is stuff you can't do in any other medium. I think it's just I'm just going to ramble more about it. So I'm going to cut.
I mean, I remember there's at least like 2 or 3 points in each script so far where I read what's on the page, but I then have to tell John and Tom, I have no idea how anyone can ever draw this. And then we get a page like you have all the way over there on the left, and it's just like, oh, that's how you draw it. Tom Skilly's got it all figured out.
Yeah, I told him usually when I'm trying to write, I mean, I write a lot of comics, and usually when I write them, you try to write things that are possible to draw. Like that's probably a good rule for writing things. But with this book, that's just out the window. It's just every panel. If I haven't written something that I don't think there's any way that could possibly be drawn, I feel like I failed. And also I know Tom's going to rewrite it and make it something that absolutely couldn't be drawn. And then I'll draw it. Oh yeah, here's actually some preview art from issue 1. I don't think we've seen this anywhere before. I don't know if you recognize that character in the foreground there. But, major G.I. Joe character. He doesn't talk. Yeah, the origins, deaths, lives, rebirths, universe hanging in the balance, all that's going on here. Speaking of G.I. Joe, you G.I. Joe fans out there?
Yo, Joe!
All right, so a few weeks back, we actually just saw the release of the landmark 200th issue for Real American Hero. This was a real point of pride in my career. I started editing this when we launched it with Free Comic Book Day with issue 155 and a half. And at that point, I knew we were going to keep it running for a while, but I didn't really understand what a while meant. And we ended up getting to issue 200 before you know it. And we're still going strong. It's still going. Issue 200, it's a great story. We got 30 pages of story in there and some great extra features. Larry writes himself a fantastic script, and S.O. Gallant just knocks it out of the park with the art. And then coming up, we got issue number 201, and we actually got a really radical Rob Liefeld cover for this issue. It's really fun and cool to have Rob work on this comic. He's such a big G.I. Joe fan. He was even more excited about it than I was. Like, he could not wait to just draw Snake Eyes or draw Roadblock. He was ecstatic to be able to do this, and we just loved the cover that we ended up getting from him. Here are some preview pages from the issue. Again, just S.O. Gallant, killing it as usual. And he's pretty much the artist on the series for the foreseeable future. And him and Larry just make such a fantastic team. He's meticulous and really just gets in as many vehicles and characters as the fans want to see. And Larry is just, he really gets enervated by seeing all this art and just tries to write the best possible, most gripping stories that he can to live up to the art that we get on the page. So still going strong. Probably gonna make it to number 300 at this point. So stay tuned for that.
Good. If we don't have the slide for this one, we don't have slides, let's try to get jumping there. We should brought this in there, but we're doing you guys know G.I. Joe 21, right? The silent issue, probably one of the most famous issues in comic books. And I think definitely for anybody my age, like that was like the moment that made us like fall in love with comics as a medium. It was just here's something you couldn't do. It was a huge homage to it in the last G.I. Joe movie. But we've actually, we're in the process right now of putting this together as a book. We've tracked down the original art to that series. Also, Larry's had his original layouts. He actually wrote that issue in layout form. Like, there's no script, he laid it out. And then Steve Leola did the finished art on it. So we're actually going back, for as long as that comics existed, there have been like coloring mistakes and things that have bothered Larry about the book. So we've actually gone back, we're going to reshoot the original art. And even though the scans that exist now are actually pretty good, we're going to reshoot it from the originals, get even better versions of the scans. And recolor it and put it out in a deluxe hardcover edition, some sort of history of the book, some commentary about it. But for me, that's just a really special issue, and I think this book is going to finally put this thing in the pantheon of great comics that it really belongs in. So we're pretty excited about that. We're working with Larry and that, trying to gather up all the material. But it's stuff that I think nobody's really seen in print, or nobody's seen in print together, I think, ever. So it's pretty exciting. I think that's out in August. Yep, something like that. So anyway, our main G.I. Joe books, you might have noticed, have kind of gone dark lately. And I guess the question is, does the world still need G.I. Joe? I don't know if anybody here has any opinions on that subject. Yes. September 2014, the questions will be answered. The G.I. Joe will return. Larry Hama fans will not affect Larry's book. Larry's rolling like crazy, like Carlos was saying. But the IDW G.I. Joe universe will return in September. And I think we're not quite ready to make the announcement here as to who's doing it, but it's I actually do know, and it's pretty exciting. I think a lot of people are going to be excited. It's going to be a new. It's going to be something that I think will please a lot of fans. Let me put it that way. So you'll have to trust me on that. And then right after that, hey, October 2014, we're going to have a huge D&D announcement coming soon too. I don't know if any D&D fans are here. We've been a little quiet on the D&D front lately, but we're not, we've been in no way giving up. But I think the D&D book that's coming out now is going to be one of the, I think it's a very exciting announcement. A really good, new creative team coming together on that. And, I think it's going to be something that's going to please D&D fans and fans of comics. Anybody ever hear of My Little Pony? All right. Well, should I just jump over to you? Or do you have anything you want to say about it, Tony?
I have nothing to do with that image.
Well, what would you have done differently?
Don't get me started.
My Little Pony has been a phenomenon for us. I mean, it's been a phenomenon across the world, but it's just a constant hit book. Hope a lot of you are out there reading it. I know it's introduced a lot of people to comics. Anybody here, was My Little Pony their first comic book? Anybody? All right, everybody. The record show, literally everyone in the room raised their hand. So we're continuing the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic as well as Friends Forever.
I did that.
There you go. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So I've been drawing My Little Pony comics since IDW started making My Little Pony comics. The next one I got coming out is Friends Forever #5, which features Fluttershy and Zecora on an adventure. Fluttershy's animal friends start talking to her, like using real words with real voices, and she freaks out because normally she just talks to them and nobody talks back. So she freaks out and she runs to check in with Zecora to see what's going on. And Zecora runs a bunch of tests to try and figure out why all these animals are talking, which I understand is weird in a book about talking horses. But it's like DuckTales, right? Like ducks can talk, dogs can't talk. But people with dogs can talk, but like Pluto can't talk. So it's like that. Like squirrels aren't supposed to talk. Horses can talk. Zebras can talk. I don't know about deer. So anyway, they go on an adventure and find out what's going on with that. It's adorable. It's written by my buddy Tom Zoller, who wrote the first My Little Pony micro series issue of Twilight Sparkle, and art by me and colors by Heather Breckle.
And I just, my daughter made me bring this with me today for good luck. From my very own dad. She was leaving this morning. So she can watch the panel from up here.
Oh, that's it?
All the questions are going to be to you. Launching shortly is going to be our Littlest Pet Shop series in May. If I don't know if any of you guys have seen the Littlest Pet Shop, but it's going to be really following the style of the cartoon. The art's just spectacular. Got Nico Pena with colors by Victoria Rubato doing the art of this particular one, and just a lot of the same fun and the same sort of zany adventures that the show gets into. We'll be carried through this the comic, and hopefully, if you like ponies, you might want to check this one out too. We got a couple pages from the first issue. But it's a lot of fun. So yeah, Nico and Victoria did the art in the main story, the first issue. I think each issue's got 2 stories in it, so it's more excitement for your comic buying book. I believe that's the end of our panel. So that's it for the slideshow. But I'd like to open it up. Any questions you guys might have? I think there's a microphone up in front. If that's how it's working. Or whatever. Any questions? Margaret, is there going to be a Transformers Prime Season 4?
The IDW no. And kinda. No, Transformers Prime is over, but there is a new show that has been announced that I'm writing on that I can't say any more about. But it will be Transformers. It's made by a lot of the same people that worked on Transformers Prime, and I think you'll like it.
Yeah, from what I've seen of it, I don't know if I can say it's good. It's good.
I can say
I don't know if I'm
it's
allowed to say that.
good. No, it's good.
Is anybody from Hasbro here? Okay, it's good. Yes.
Is it true that Bumblebee is going to be leading the newest group of Autobots in the next year series?
I have no idea. Margaret, do you have any idea? She knows. I don't think anybody has any idea. I think
I read on it. I don't even know. I don't know what's been announced. I can't say anything. I literally told you all I can say,
Yeah.
or I will be killed.
I think keep your eyes peeled in the next few weeks, and I think there's some announcements coming up about the cartoon. But that's outside of my area of expertise and what we're working on. But I think there's going to be some announcements fairly shortly about what the show's about. Go ahead.
You guys have done an amazing job on also prequel comics for the movies in the past. With the new movie coming out this year, are you guys working with something prequel to Age of Extinction?
Thank you. They asked if we would work on any prequel comics to the Age of Extinction Transformers movie. Thanks for the kind words about the other ones. No.
Oh, that's so.
No, we're not. No particular negative reasons. That was actually where I got my start working on Transformers, is on the prequel. So I definitely have a soft spot for sort of the continuity that we built between the comics and the movies, the novels, and all that. But we're really concentrating, I think, right now on the 3 books right now with 3 plus Flint's book plus Primacy, which I just forgot for a second. But we're really concentrating on that world and on Transformers G.I. Joe right now. But never say never. But that's where we are right now.
Cool. Thank you.
You have a question?
Yeah. What were the decisions that led up to making Megatron an Autobot, and now that the Decepticons are leaderless, who's going to take over?
Wow, those are 2 good questions. What led to Megatron becoming an Autobot, and who's going to take over the Decepticons? So that was actually September of 2011. James Roberts, myself, and Phil Jimenez all flew out to Hasbro headquarters on a secret trip. And we had a big story meeting with a bunch of people at Hasbro, Michael Kelly, who worked at Hasbro, Mark Webber, who was part of the Transformers brand team. And we met with everybody from the brand team. Andy Schmidt, who used to edit the comics and at that time was working at Hasbro. And we started to break down what would become Dark Cybertron. And we were just kind of throwing everything against the wall to see what was going to stick. We were throwing out ideas. It was another one of those situations where we kind of couldn't believe we were getting away with what we were getting away with, in terms of ideas we were coming up with. And I honestly don't remember who threw out the idea, but basically at that meeting, I think it might have actually been Mark Webber who suggested making Megatron an Autobot, because that wasn't something that we thought we'd ever even have a chance to do. We thought that somebody would say no, but that kind of scene of Bumblebee teaming up with Megatron and Megatron putting on Bumblebee's Autobot symbol, the genesis of that was right there in that room with the 3 of us kind of talking, with James E. and Phil talking to the Hasbro guys. So that's basically been in the works for a little over 2 years now. Which is how long we were working on Dark Cybertron. But I think I just gave notes on the second volume of the trade paperback, so Dark Cybertron is actually almost over in my life, for whatever that's worth. And as for who's going to lead the Decepticons, that's actually kind of a complicated question that does have a simple answer. But on Cybertron, the storyline in the books, and most especially in Windblade right now, The Decepticons have lost the war. The war is over. The Autobots have won. There's a bunch of Decepticons on Cybertron, and it's really about sort of winning the peace, which is what Robots in Disguise have been about for a long time. But with Megatron sort of switching sides, you're going to see a lot of Decepticons that are going to kind of, some of them are going to look at that and think, okay, well, if Megatron says the Autobots are okay, I guess the Autobots are okay. I guess we didn't lose. I guess we kind of won. We have peace. That's kind of what we were after, sort of. But a lot of Decepticons are going to look like their leader just sold them out and just went to the evilest of evil sides. Because the Decepticons look at the Autobots as being evil, like they look at them as being the bad guys. So you're going to have a lot of Decepticons, I think, on Cybertron sort of becoming maybe more militant or more rudderless. Some just becoming utterly hopeless. But as you saw in the end of Dark Cybertron, Galvatron has sort of gathered together some of the people who particularly feel betrayed by Megatron's choice. And they'll be forming a new Decepticon group that we'll be seeing in Robots in Disguise. And the objectives of this new Decepticon group are not the same as the original Decepticons. And I think it's going to be interesting to see that unfold. Soundwave, it's basically Soundwave and Galvatron leading this group with Soundwave, if you read Robots in Disguise, it has very much been about freedom. Like he was about, the Decepticons were sort of a force for equality, fighting against a corrupt leadership. And he sort of turned a blind eye when that turned into universal tyranny. That seemed like a price to pay for equality to him. But with that sort of stripped away, with Megatron stripped away from it, Soundwave's vision of what the Decepticons mean is much more pure, and Galvatron is nuts. So that's not good. I don't know, do you want to talk anything about Windblade or the early days of that? You guys have any thoughts on that? Tony?
In terms of the Decepticons' role in Windblade, it's really interesting because you're trying to see essentially the Decepticons and Autobots to a certain extent try and integrate together back on Cybertron. Everyone's been allowed to move back into the city of Metroplex, but there's a really big question mark in Windblade's mind, and I think in a lot of Transformers' minds about can these sides really stop the war, and can they really rebuild the planet? So.
Yeah, it's funny. In Metroplex, I just wrote a scene where he's impaled by a junkie on ship, those screw ships, he's like stumbling around. Anyway, I always felt like with the Decepticons and the Autobots, I always love the stories where you have team-ups of guys who don't like each other because there's something worse they have to go deal with. And so it's kind of fun to do that. Ultimately, Transformers, you end up somewhere back at, Megatron's a bad guy and Optimus Prime's a good guy, but what we spent a lot of time certainly doing was showing that things are a little more complex than they seem. That Megatron, when it started out, had a legitimate point. That usually bad guys don't start out as totally evil; they just get twisted. Whereas Optimus went the other way. Optimus starts out kind of corrupt in autocracy and realizes he's got to clean himself up. So that answers your question.
Any more questions?
I got
Oh, okay.
now I'm just looking for your opinion. Anyone wants to answer this. I'm a huge Soundwave fan. From like the 1980s, all the way to pretty much now. I've seen a bunch of different personas like, the old Transformers, Robots in Disguise, Prime, or even animation, What I want to know is, what do you think that would be characteristic of, what do you think should Soundwave portray ultimately? Based on all the different designs of Soundwave.
He has a cassette tape deck, that's the...
Okay, all right, there are about 3 people in this room that know what Soundwave originally was. It was a boombox from the 80s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Love the cassettes.
I view them so... part of me just loves the 80s stuff. I love seeing these cassettes flying around, and we view them as wildlife that was kind of captured somewhere. Yeah, somewhere, under the surface of Cybertron where, rats live in the basement and all that. That's where you find Ratchet. those guys. So, I mean, yeah, I'm good with Boombox, and we just, let educate people who want to come, maybe they'll come back,
I guess I'm always really partial to the Prime design. I really liked him as a drone playing, partly because we really wanted to keep him as being an infiltrator, and since our show is set in current day, finding a boombox in the desert was going to be less of like a normal occurrence than it was in the G1 thing. So, but I don't know, I really like having him being very alien looking, and I think somehow his silence kind of made him seem more pure.
Yeah, that's something I actually kind of, yes.
15 minutes.
Yeah, okay. Okay, do it. I always sort of, like, I used when I was writing the RID issues about Soundwave, like, he was kind of all over the map in terms of how different writers were handling him, even in the IDW universe. And I think he's one of the characters that, across different versions of Transformers, has been, like, really all over the place. Like, there's just so many radically different, versions. And even from movie 2 to 3, he's barely, the connective tissue is the same character. For me, like, what I sort of focused in on was the idea of him being able to communicate and hear, and what that would mean. Where he's almost a mutant. He's almost got these abilities to hear different. He's almost a telepath in a way, but not really. That he can hear so much stuff that it becomes difficult to filter out things what he should or shouldn't be doing, or he should or shouldn't be hearing, and his personality sort of became built around that, which is why the idea of him particularly viewing everybody as being equals and not being separate because of what form they take, or whether, whatever the different versions of separation were going on in the early days of the IDW Transformers universe. So, I really just kind of narrowed the IDW one myself, but that's sort of my take. To me, he's the guy who genuinely believes in the core of the Decepticon cause, and has made mistakes, and views himself as having made mistakes in letting things go where they went. But the essential, like, he's the loyalist of the Decepticons. He truly believes in what the Decepticons are about, which it makes him dangerous from a certain point of view, but makes him in a way almost reasonable. That he thinks he's doing the right thing. And he turns into a truck already.
I just got paid to draw him in a DJ battle with My Little Pony. I'm not allowed to show you guys yet. I'll show you, but you gotta have like a really good camera. There you go, I'll tell you
Okay, this is completely ridiculous, but I kind of want to know if this has come up in the office ever. What is the likelihood of a Transformers My Little Pony crossover?
I'm kind of pushing for it. They let me draw anytime there's like a special cover or a piece of artwork that's Transformers My Little Pony. They let me draw it, and I would love to do a whole issue, except for Transformers. Transformers are like 10 times harder to draw than
Would people like to see a crossover there?
Yeah.
Usually I get the G.I. Joe one. I can make my Warhorse joke, but
So, like 30 years ago, our stories started off with an action figure brought into a toy company's boardroom, right? Like that's how He-Man came to be and things like that. How has the collaboration between IDW and Hasbro really changed or shaped that? And how do you see it kind of, when did that change happen, and how does the collaboration now happen?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I'll try to go quick so I can get some more questions in. But I think that we're not as beholden to put in every product that Hasbro puts out. Like, we don't have to put the toys in there. I think the other thing that we have going on is that there's a real mutual respect right now. Like the Transformers brand team at Hasbro genuinely likes the comics, and they read them and they know what's going on in them. And as you probably noticed, they've been basing more and more designs off of stuff we've been doing in the comics. Transformers from Hasbro's point of view, what's that?
Which is awesome, by the way.
Transformers from Hasbro's point of view tends to be, they have the movie stuff, they have Creo, they have they had Prime and whatever the animated series is at the time, and Rescue Bots, and they have all these different sort of categories. One of them is Generations, which is sort of all of the previous versions of Transformers, especially the G1 stuff, but also Beast Wars and Beast Machines and Animated, and I think Animated falls into that now, but Cybertron trilogy. So we're the Armada. IDW is the place where fiction for that is being created. So that's why I think there's a real relationship between the two. We worked on Dark Cybertron especially, we worked a lot with those guys to figure out designs, what characters we wanted to use, what characters we wanted to put in there. So there's a lot of back and forth in terms of being able to work with them. But in terms of like the day-to-day operations of working on Transformers, working with Hasbro is terrific. I worked at Marvel, and it really, the situation really isn't any different than what it was like working on a character at Marvel. In terms of like, if we want to do something, we talk to them about it, and they're very good about good story ideas win. And stuff, like I said, stuff we kind of got away with. I say gotten away with, but I'm kind of joking. Stuff that we all want to do, Like those guys are all Transformers fans too. Those guys and girls are all Transformers fans, as are we, and we just want to do something cool with it. Go ahead.
The Decepticon Justice Division mentioned a book that Megatron had written early on, and he also quoted from it when he was on, when he talked about his conversions to being an Autobot. Is there any chance we can see that book?
That's interesting. That's actually an interesting question. I'm sure James has it written. Actually, I'm going to ask if it comes up again. Yeah, it definitely does. As Jack's seen the book, that's an interesting question. We hadn't really talked about that. That might be something. The Gospel according to Megatron, like that might be a book. I'll think about it.
Hey, John. First of all, your book came out this past Wednesday, sold out day one at our store. Start Cybertron, I have such a place for it. It's sold out. But my question is for you, Carlos. So with G.I. Joe, my leg is emblazoned with Transformers in G.I. Joe. I covered in Decepticons and working on G.I. Joe. A really weird request. Do you know if you guys are going to be bringing Snow Job at all into the comic books and more forefront?
I was really hoping for the Snow Job question. The last time we featured the character was way back in like the early days of Origins, back when we launched like.
There's a Snow Job?
Yes, that's right. Tony, do you want to draw my Snow Job issue? Is that what's going on?
I'm interested in anything involving Snow Job.
The last time we saw him was way back when, and I know like we definitely established him pretty well as a character in the IDW universe. We wanted to bring him in. And then the last time we saw him in the Real American Hero was actually a little more recently. He was involved in a more recent storyline in Real American Hero. And with Larry, it's a little hard to tell sort of like what teams he's going to decide to focus on. Right now in the upcoming issues, he really focused on a team with a torpedo and a really cool mission that's coming up. But he rotates them so often, and he always has something interesting and new to sort of explore with those characters that I really wouldn't be surprised if somebody else would come back pretty soon.
You get Snow Job.
Okay. I don't have Snow Job yet. just by the way, Santa jackets.
Well, thank you very much.
Next question. 500. Go ahead.
Two things for Mary. Number one, my friend who goes to college with me wanted to let you know that she wants to be you when she grows up.
Wait, that means a roll.
Grows up from 21 to like 23. But another thing, how did you go from the bare bones, Windblade is a jet girl with a sword, to a full-fledged character?
Oh yeah, well that was actually really interesting because, like you said, he had like, she's a jet, sword, she has to talk to Metroplex, and that was kind of it. It was like, fill in the rest. So we tried to work essentially from the outside in, with the idea that people generally express traits about themselves. So when we saw her sort of really formal makeup, we were like, okay, well, what kind of person has that? That's clearly like a really significant life choice. If you guys have read issue 1, I'm not gonna spoil it. but it's essentially part of her job. She's extremely dedicated to her job, and we decided, oh, that would be a really great reaction. We also tried to give her a certain amount of grace, and I really wanted to give her a viewpoint that would be very welcoming to new readers. So I wanted to give her this really hopeful, embracing viewpoint, because I essentially wanted Windblade to fall in love with Cybertron and decide that Cybertron was worth fighting for, so that the readers could, along with her, fall in love with Cybertron and decide that Cybertron was worth fighting for. And so, and to give her some place to grow, I decided to just scale her back a bunch. So it's funny, the issue is really awesome, but one of the best things about Windblade is that we made the decision that Windblade is not actually that awesome at many things. Like, I think she gets kneed in the gut in like page 3 and like taken out in like one hit. And she's trying. She has someplace to go. Then she's like super bad A and perfect and everything like that. So.
Okay, we'll do one more question, and I think we've got actually a question for you guys. Go ahead, sir.
This is for Tony. The MLP comics, you guys have a lot of characters, like Gordon Ramsay in there and stuff like that. How do you guys come up with these ideas? Just throw them in there.
I don't know. I usually am working so fast that the only characters I throw in, like they call it chicken scratching comics, like the extra stuff that goes in the background. The only stuff I end up throwing in is like if it strikes me in the moment, and I'm like, oh, I should draw, like a Gordon Ramsay or like Candy Price is always drawing. My name's Earl and Mr. T in his comics. That guy has like endless imagination for putting stuff in the background. I just want to finish my work and go to sleep. I tend to make as few jokes as possible. If the joke is on the page, I make it. Otherwise, I have no time for it. But what I think would help, I can make all the jokes in the world, but I can just get like twice the page rate. And I can take like twice as long on it. It'll be Joke-a-palooza. And I promise like 10 background jokes per page. If you guys want to, who's in charge of that? That's Bob. I've already asked. I don't think that's happening. Let me introduce Rosalind Moorhead from IDW here, and she's got a little.
I work in the marketing department, and we have a really special giveaway today. Late last year, our My Little Pony comics hit 1 million copies.
Nice.
So what we did to commemorate that is make a special variant cover of number 12, and we actually made only 12 in the entire world. So this is your chance to actually get one of 12 right now. We were originally going to do a raffle, and we've actually had to change it to a trivia question, and the first person to answer, I guess, right would be the one who receives this. And I would really like Tony to help me with that question.
So,
He's the authority.
To get the rule, is we're going to raise hands or yell it out?
I think raising hands.
Raising hands?
I'm
Okay.
sorry, you guys, we didn't have that planned out, so we're going to try to do this as nicely as possible. So, Tony.
First person that can name 5 out of 6 of the main 6 is pets.
Yeah.
Tank, Angel, Olicious, Opalescence, and Gummy.
Did you say Gumby?
Gummy.
Gumby.
Gummy.
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 Now you win.
Okay, and that is it for the IDW 12.
I've seen like 14
Hasbro.
of those.
What?
I'm telling you, there's more than 12 out there. You guys are up to something.
All right, as if the IDW Hasbro panel, thank you very much. We've got and at 5 o'clock tonight, the IDW booth, Mary Green Flint and I are going to be doing a Transformer signing, and Windblade #1 is for sale at the IDW booth right now, as is Pony Comics. Yeah, Joe.
Check out
Sean Long,
Jason David Frank, Tommy the Green Ranger.